All right. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to have you joining us for our monthly vision talk. This is for the faith filled, adventurous soul longing for a new chapter. And I'm Julie Landi, your host for this particular episode, and the founder of Live Your Vision, which is the host organization for this publication or these series. So I'm thrilled to be able to join you, and I have an incredible guest with me. I'll tell you a little bit more about her in just a second, but a little bit about Live Your Vision, where we help driven women who've been busy serving everyone else, yet know there's more for them, finally discover and develop and distribute their own unique gifts to create greater impact and income and have greater fulfillment in this world. We've been doing that for, the last 6 years. And with remarkable success and incredible stories that we have to share with you, Robyn being one of them. And I'm so thankful, so grateful that I get the opportunity to participate in this. So we're so thankful that you're joining us today, whether you're joining us here live or you're going to be listening to the replay. Welcome. We are so thrilled to have you. And today I'm thrilled to introduce to you and share with you an essential element of our success. One that we will help you actually walk through with a live participant, which I think is going to be really fun. We're trying something new here, so bear with us. We tend to do a lot of experimentation in this group, but because we are a culture of grace, we feel the license or the liberty to be able to do that, where we feel very safe, very protected, very encouraged, and very supported by one another. So we feel safe to go ahead and stretch our wings a bit and grow. So I get the chance to share with you, and we're going to walk through this process of growth right here live on the spot with the creative and talented Robyn Horton. She is the co-founder of Dreams Color Media, along with her husband and her son. She'll tell you more about that in a little bit. I can't wait. It's pretty exciting. And then she's also an incredible coach for us here at Live Your Vision. She's our success group coach. We are so thrilled to have her. She's coming to us live from Los Angeles. Now, why did I want to have Robyn on today, and why did I want to have her on the team? Because it really is such a mutually edifying arrangement. Well, a few years back, Robyn came to us, and she's clearly fits that profile of being a faith-filled woman. And she served so many for years. Many of you that are listening today are a recipient of her service, and that's been beautiful. But she too was longing for a new chapter at that time. So I'm not going to talk the whole time. I'm actually going to invite Robyn in to do some of that conversation with me, and we get to include you in our conversation. But I wanted to introduce you, Robyn Horton from Los Angeles, and just ask her to say hello and tell us a little bit about her so you can understand where she's coming from.
Thanks, Julie. It's so good to be here with everyone. You know, I watched things with Live Your Vision for a while, and I kept getting little messages and emails, and I kept going, what is this about? What is this about? So it's so great to be here live and be a part of this right now. I want you guys to know how exciting this is for me. But a little bit about my background. I've been an HR person for many years, human resources, and I've been in a profession where I've helped people, supported them. There was a lot of administration, a lot of things I didn't like about my background. I've been married for 27 years. I have a 23-year-old son. So that sort of paints the picture of who I was. But I definitely felt like something was missing. I loved counseling and helping women, but I didn't feel like I could really get my hands around it. I was doing a lot of things on the side. So I feel like at this time, God kind of brought things together for me, and he is clarifying my vision. And so that's just a little bit about my background. I've been in Los Angeles for 31 years now. So getting very accustomed to the culture here and all the diversity. I love this city. So anyway, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much for just giving us that little sketch. You're gonna hear lots more about her in just a second. I wanted you to now just to share a little bit. You shared where you were coming from in a physical way before, and that you were looking for something more, but just a little bit more about where you were at in terms of, let's dive a little deeper into where you're at before we started working together. Let's go there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, when I actually got an opportunity to be in the success group, I think it was July of 2020. And who wasn't in a good place then? I was kind of at a dark place because there was a lot of things going on around me. I just didn't have a vision for my future. I didn't really like what I was doing. I felt very stuck. I had a lot of passion and a lot of energy for people, but I didn't feel I could really exercise it. I wasn't sure how I could get my hands around really helping women and having the impact that I wanted to have. My family was kind of stuck. We were stuck in non-careers or careers that we didn't like. And we just weren't going anywhere. And emotionally, I felt like I'd never really completed things I wanted to complete. I had started writing a book. I had started a Facebook group for single women. And I just felt like I could never quite launch my life. I felt like I was always all my ambitions were lined up on the table, but I could never quite get them over the cliff, So that's kind of where I was at right when you met me. Thank you.
So clear. That was so helpful. I'm quite sure that many in the audience can relate to that. Just lots and lots of ideas, lots and lots of creative juices flowing, but not a way to structurally move them forward and make them concrete and tangible. As you said, getting your arms around them. So obviously we invited you in, we got started, you decided to commit to this program and get started with us. What would you say, for the sake of the viewers, what we're talking about, what would you say were some of the biggest gains that you had the opportunity of grabbing? We're going to go through a process in our time together here in just a minute, but we're going to talk about that, how we can really build something, but I don't want to introduce that just yet. Tell me a little bit about what you gained from the program.
Okay, I think the first thing, first of all, I didn't realize the value of the group when I first got in. And I thought, it's going to be a lot of one-on-one coaching. But it wasn't about that. It was really, once I got into this group dynamic, the first gain that I felt was support. I mean, genuine communal support. Like all these women and we were kind of at the same place in our life. We were different ages, different stages, but we were all feeling like there was something more and we just couldn't quite get there. And as we talked and we shared, I felt like, wow, there was such a support from each other. As we went through the curriculum, it really met the emotional need and helped us to take the next step. And that was the first gain. I'm like, wow, where we were going, it was really clear. We had to understand ourselves first. We had to know our value. We had to know our strengths. We had to understand our passions. So the foundational teaching was what really helped me to grab onto everything. Then the communal support, sharing, talking. Every time we met together, we'd have great conversations, deep conversations, helping support each other. And then just the vulnerability in the group, so beautiful. People just started to open up. So I think it just felt really safe and pure. And I feel like in the past I've been in groups and they've been good, but I can't say they were great. I can't say that they met my needs at this emotional level. I walked into this not really knowing where I was going, sort of in the back of my mind with the experiences that I've had in groups before. But this was something different and unique. There was a clear curriculum, a clear direction, a clear line of support. And then we all quickly caught on to the culture of support and started to interact with each other in a way where we're actually learning how to talk to each other and give to each other in a wonderful, beautiful, but natural way. So I hope that answered the question, but that's the first thing I felt right away with the group.
Yeah, no, I think that's fabulous. And I think that cannot be underestimated. And, there's statistics out there that talk about how when we try and make changes on our own, we have about an 8% chance of making that happen. And yet you add in there support in the form of support group, accountability, facilitation, guidance, leadership tools, things like that, which are all of what's encompassed in the Live Your Vision Success Group. And your chances of making a change that you're looking for up level to about 95%. So you cannot underestimate the power of a solidly formed, clearly constructed pathway and group. And that I think is what you're, talking about.
Yes,
and that, it also, that particularly safe group provides a platform for growth. Yeah. Like I said in the very beginning of this conversation, and honestly, we give ourselves a lot of permission to make mistakes here. We don't have to be perfect in a world that's really, if we feel that pressure to be perfect all the time here, we don't have to be. And you'll see mistakes. You'll see, all the things that we do wrong, big as life. And yet that always, the grace that we experience from one another allows for us to continue to try another to try something else out. Even today, we're going to be trying something new because we feel the safety of the grace around us, which is formed from that, in that support and this God-given culture that we have. So thank you for sharing that. We're going to talk about what you've really gotten from the group and the program here in just a little bit. I know that it's been pretty extraordinary, the results that you've had, and I don't want to shortcut those at all. But I know that really, you mentioned it, this part of what's happened is that you were allowed to, or you were encouraged to, or you were emboldened and empowered to finally get out of your corporate position as an HR, director, which I understand I was one too. So funny. We share that, but it's something we thought we would be able to do with our skill set and enjoy. And yes, we were able to do it. Both you and I share that, but not necessarily enjoy it particularly so as well as we could have. And yet your skill set has now been launched with the help of this essential element and all the teachings to start Dreams Color with your husband, your son, Alec. Incredible family business. Like, wow, who does that these days? Launches a family business, and as well as having your own, coaching program to work with us. Thank you. So
thank you.
I know there's a trendy topic that we're going to discuss and dig into here in just a little bit. And we're going to talk more about Dreams Color in a bit, but I just wanted to give a little shout out if you're looking for her to check that out. And there is this topic that is pretty hot that people are talking about for women anyway, in the personal development space that seems to be spotlighted over and over again. And that's that concept of personal worth, right? That's what we're talking about today, the concept of personal worth and how that ties into your own confidence and your own abilities. Now, interestingly enough, we can't put a price, we know, on human life, right? It is priceless. There's no, that would be silly of us to try and do that. But far too many women I know, though they've accomplished so much, as you had as well, really struggle with these underlying insecurities that prevent them from moving forward. Prevent them from living the life that honestly they hope for and dream for. And it definitely prevents them from firing on all cylinders, as we say, so personally, professionally, spiritually, on every level, when those insecurities are either lying dormant or are brewing and they get provoked by all sorts of things, they really shut us down. Bottom line, this issue deserves some attention because it prevents us from living our vision and really creating the life that we love. So today I'm asking you, Robyn, to help me walk our listeners through your personal internal transformation. Okay. So would you be willing to do that with me?
Sure. I'm trying to think of what did I feel like when I came into this group. I think in my past teaching and experiences, I felt like my worth was very much based on my performance, what I could do, how people saw me, what I could really produce in my life. And even my joy was conditional to that at times, because if I wasn't producing what I thought I should, whether it be in my corporate environment or in my personal life, either meeting the needs of people or my family, it took my worth down, took my sense of self down. And as I began to transform my thinking, and really some of the teaching, some of the books and things, The Gift of Being Yourself, phenomenal book, one of the books we read in the program, really helped me to understand. And even as a Christian, we say, well, we know God values us, but do we really live that way? Do we really live as though we're pleasing the master and not the people? And I really got the understanding that my worth is really about pleasing God. It's not about making everybody happy around me, and that he thinks I'm valuable. He's given me specific skills and abilities and gifts, and he wants me to use them. And as I step out on those, I'm showing God and I'm honoring him. And that's where I can give back to him. My worth wasn't based on the affirmation of people. And I think so much of it in the past has been like, well, do they think I'm good? Do they think I'm worthy? Do they think I'm attractive?
Right.
These are the things that run through our head.
Let me ask you this, because I know I'm going to ask you to go back in time a little bit.
Sure.
So bear with me.
Yeah.
Would you please describe for me, what your insecurities and the stress of that produced in you? Because I do think we don't recognize what living in that space of trying to please everyone around us does, all the externals versus the internals. And we'll get to that in a minute, the transformative piece. But right now, take us back to where you were, the insecurities, what it felt like day to day, and what kind of what the stress of that produced on your body even.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't living in peace. I knew that. And I think that in many ways, my performance desire to please people, to be worthy, created health issues for me. I mean, I literally got problems in my digestive tract. And like 3 or 4 years ago, I had colon surgery. I had diverticulitis. My body was like so twisted up from the stress. And I kept thinking, why am I like this? And I think I was just internalizing all the pressures and the expectations that honestly I put on myself. And I think we all do this. We're putting this on ourselves because we're not secure on the inside. We don't have that confidence that says, I am worthy. I'm enough. I'm good enough. I think most women struggle with this. And just to be honest, I struggled with it too. Maybe people saw that on the outside. I don't know, but I certainly felt it on the inside. And so if I wasn't getting that affirmation of my worth and my value by giving, serving, doing whatever I was doing, on the inside, it was in knots. And I always felt like I had to do more. And it was never enough. I would say my syndrome was never enough. Yeah. My husband always tells me I couldn't even rest. He goes, honey, sit down, watch TV with me. I could never rest. I had to do something else. And so I felt like that was based on my performance. Like I just couldn't rest. So that took a toll on my health for many years.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that, because I do think you're not alone. And it is really important that we do understand what that level of insecurity produces on us, even physically. And I just want to propose to the listeners here that one of the things that we've discovered in our work over the last 6 or so years with women is that most of those insecurities come from a very inaccurate view of self. It's because you're trying to rely on external, affirmations and all of that, but it also has to do with an internal voice and an internal view that's incorrect. And I have been overwhelmed by when we help women create a correct view of themselves, and I mean an accurate view of self, how we gather the data that supports that, because it's kind of crazy, but Robyn, the exercises that we take you through are such that we actually help you prove to yourself who you really are. And because most of the women I know are their own worst critics. They are dependent on external pressures and they're pleasing other people and all of that. But the worst part of it is that it's become their internal voice, and to the point where the critic has become their conscience. And it's sad. It's really, really sad. So what I realize is that their incorrect view or inaccurate or incomplete view of self has driven them actually into poor health or just restrained them in such a way. So one of the things that we first do is we collect a lot of data on you. It's kind of a crazy thing, but I'm going to share this with you as listeners. We collect a lot of data on you. Yes. Not like Facebook does, not that kind of data. Okay. And they're listening now, right? We're talking about data from what kind of strengths you have and how you show up in the world to all those around you. We do computerized assessments that are really incredible. We take data from your own life, really. We get so much data. We spend weeks going through the data. And so that you can ultimately make a decision on who you are, and your view of self actually shifts when it's based on facts and not feelings. And for so many years, our feelings have been shaping our view of self. But now we take you out of the feeling realm. We help you with the data, make decisions about who you are, how you show up based on facts. That is super, super powerful. Once the accuracy and the clarity is reached in these areas, because it's incredible to be able to see yourself through a very, truthful window. And most women with the inner critic see only the negative. They don't see all the strengths, the positives, the strengths, the values, the passions, the beliefs that are all powerfully positive in their life. So we do a great deal of work on helping women see. And that's one of the things that Robyn has spent a good bit of time on, getting her to see that the whole other side of the story, so to speak. Balance the narrative, give a fair and balanced news report here. I'm not talking about living in a fantasy, pretending that I'm, some supermodel. I'm not talking about that. What I am talking about, though, is embracing fully who God created me to be. And it's so settling and refreshing. Actually what happens is what we see is women's identity starts to shift. And that is powerful. Before, when they were basing their identity on roles they played, like Robyn talked about, then they were subject to temporary shifts and changes and opinions and popularity and profitability and whether all of that, like all the externals. When we shifted it to the view of self to be now in line with the God-given gifts, along with your values, your passions, and your beliefs, what is factual to you and how you show up, it's now no longer an external identification based on roles. It's an internal identification based on who you were created to be, who you are, your strengths, right? So it's really powerful to make that shift. And it's funny how women start to show up differently. They feel differently about themselves and they show up differently. And that's really what I'm talking about. So Robyn, I wanted you to, if you could we had a little conversation, you guys, off camera before, and we were just doing a little kind of test on this, but what would you say your confidence, or if you could measure your confidence on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like you're super confident, you can take on whatever's coming. 1 being like, honestly, I'd rather curl up in a ball than do what I'm doing right now. I'm just like, I battle every day with just feeling like enough. Where would you say you were at before we started the work?
Yeah, so that was an interesting question. And I encourage you as women too, to think this through for yourself and give yourself a marker. But I thought that I would mark myself higher initially, but I really feel like I was like a 3-4, like in terms of my confidence. Like I would never even go on Facebook Live. I would never do something like this. It was too risky, And so now I would say I've definitely bumped up to the 8-9 category, where I feel like, wow, I understand who I am now. I understand my value, and I feel so much more secure. I'm willing to make mistakes. And I think that is really important, is that even Julie this morning, she sent me the notes we were going to talk about. Like this morning, I'm going, oh, great. That's changing my whole thought process. I didn't wig out, you guys. Usually I'd be like, be insecure. But I just said, you know what? Just go with it, Robyn. And I think feeling secure about myself and understanding myself better just eliminates a lot of fear in your life and allows you to just step out and be confident and make mistakes and be real. And it really empowers you to be more available emotionally for other people, because you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about them and what you can give and how you can show up for others. So it's a real free feeling. Sorry, I answered that more beyond what you asked.
I love the way you answered that, because, many women that I speak to are very hesitant to take on this work for feeling that it's selfish or we're going to become arrogant, something like that. Because we all have very strong consciences, I think, the women that I'm working with. And so you illustrated that so beautifully, that it does the exact reverse. When you really see your true worth, like whose you are and how much has been invested in you, what beautiful gifts you have, you start being in awe of who you are, who you've been created to be. And you start having this admiration of self, which is a holy, godly admiration, in the sense that it humbles you and it fills you. And then you come from a place of feeling filled up, and you're grateful. You're able to serve with joy. You're able to give back. You feel like you have a lot to offer, as opposed to this deficit of insecurity where you become, withdrawing and shrinking and almost greedy with your time and energy and fearful. Like it's so, that's really where the attention is. When your attention is so on you because you're so insecure, that's really where that arrogance can come out, not in an overt form, in a more subtle, form. And that's how we get selfish too. We don't feel like we have anything to give, but that's not true. So we're actually nixing those horrible, habits or, sinful patterns by helping you to see who you actually are in the eyes of God, because now you're amazed and now you feel empowered. Now you feel called and commissioned and, endowed with something that is worthy and valuable. So,
and Julie, I wanted to say too, is you don't have to show up with false humility. I think so many times we cannot express what the gifts that God's given us. We feel like, well, that's just being prideful. But God has gifted us with things, and he's empowered us to use them in this life. If he made you a compassionate person, if he made you a creative person, if he made you someone good at math, I think we need to acknowledge those as gifts from God and say, this is who he made me. Now, how can I serve the world out there?
Yeah.
Because Jesus was very confident about who he was. He didn't walk around going, I'm not the Son of God. He said who he was. He spoke his truth, and he lived his life authentically. And I think that's what God wants us to do, is be authentic in who we are. And that starts by knowing all these things about ourselves, appreciating them in ourselves, each other, being able to build that up, and then step out confidently in the world and say, well, how can I serve you? How can I give to you? Not in a conditional way, not like I need to do this so that I can feel good about me, but how can I serve with what God's gifted me with?
Exactly. We have this famous phrase in our community, be a student of yourself and not a judge. That opens up our worlds, right, guys? Oh, yeah. So, Robyn, tell me when you first noticed the first shift. We're going to take people through that process now.
Okay.
When did you notice the beginning of a shift happening?
I think in the group, I just started realizing that, okay, I can be myself. As I'm looking at the curriculum, as we're focusing on sharing our hearts with each other, I thought, I don't have to be pretend Robyn. I can be real. I can be vulnerable. And that's really hard. We think we're vulnerable, but there's a different level of vulnerability. It's like showing who you really feel like you are on the inside. That's vulnerable. Like, we can share things, but when you really say, I feel insecure, I don't feel safe, I feel like I'm not enough, those kind of feelings really show where we are. And I felt like I could be safe to share that. And I think that was when the door started to open. Like, I could come in confidence to the group, knowing that we were all going to be honest about ourselves.
Awesome.
We weren't putting on the mask.
Great. Okay. So first step was you felt this safety from the group and support. Okay, great. That opened the door for you to be vulnerable. Now, what would the next step of the shift happen? Where would you say that happened, or what did you notice next?
I would say I think just being able to let go of the false self that I was.
Okay.
I had to let go, because how I felt about myself was so conditional. And I started to realize I got to let go of the old me. I got to let go of the old me so I can show up as the new me. God, who do you want me to be now? Who am I? I think it's just the discovery of myself. When have we ever had time as women to say, let me examine myself. Let me figure out who I am. Mm-hmm. And I think just that discovery of showing up with a new self, with a new heart, with a new openness, I think that was the second shift for me, is freedom. It's like somebody let me out of the cage.
That's funny. I've heard you say that before. And I just love that phrase. It's like someone let me out of the cage. It's like, oh, it's so wonderful. So encourages me. And then tell me when you really notice, like, wow, this stuff works. Like, I've got traction, like the big shift, the momentum, whatever it is, the big mo, the churn, as Renee calls it. When did you feel like that kicked in?
Okay. When the trials came, when the difficulties stepped in, right? When the fires hit, you're in this program, you think, okay, I feel safe, I feel good. And then all of a sudden, I'm doing a live presentation. The first one I did, I had a horrendous toothache that first time. I needed to go to the ER. It was so bad. But I'm like, I just felt like, how am I going to show up at this really difficult time? I've had financial difficulties, physical health things, family issues, time after time in the last year. And every time I thought, God, if you're really who you say you are, if you're really helping me to be my authentic self, if you're really giving me this confidence, then I'm trusting that I'm in this fire with you. And I changed my narrative. I think so much of this is the narrative, the story we tell in our head. Like, get rid of the poor me. Oh, this happened to me. Oh, my husband's had 4 surgeries. Oh, we've had these financial issues. It's like getting rid of the old narratives that take us down. I think the biggest shift in everything in this program has been the way that I think, the way that I view my world, the way that I think about myself, the way that I look at the difficulties of my life. I no longer see all this pain as constant affliction and attack. I'm trying to learn my lessons. I'm saying what God wants to say to me, and I'm turning it around. I even had an index card. I put down all of my negative thoughts that I was struggling with, and I put the positive opposite of them. And I found like, this is what I'm using when I start to go down that road. So it's a training of your mind. We've been talking about this for years, about the transformation of our minds, but we actually have steps to do this in here. Yeah. The books, the curriculum, the group dynamic, all of these things support the transformation. And I've been a Christian for 40 plus years. So I've not found a dynamic that's helped me make these kind of changes. I would say if I summarize one word I feel as a result of all this is free. Free.
That's awesome.
Free, just free.
Awesome. So basically, thank you. I appreciate you outlining the steps and the stages of moving through that position of being in like a 3 on your own belief of your own worth and confidence, right? To an 8, because it started with the group and feeling the safety and support in the group. Then you mentioned that step 2 was it allowed you to feel like you could let go of your old life and even figure out who you were and be set free, unleashed, uncaged, I guess is the word that you're using, like let out of the cage. And then finally, to really be able to become this strong and powerhouse, like embrace this view of self that, no, I'm strong, I'm resilient, I can have joy and show up in the midst of the flames. Whereas in the past, I know many of us allowed the challenges to become our identity. Pain becomes our name, so to speak, and tragedy and trial and divorce or loss, those become our identity, and we wear those, the grief, like it's a moniker around our neck. And yet, instead of it letting it shape and move us onto the next new incredible chapter full of hope and faith. And I feel like that's what I've watched happen for you, Robyn, is that all of these things happen. Yes, you came in and you had experienced the safety, step 1. Then you were willing to be let go of who you were to embrace who you were going to become. You were uncaged, right? And then now you've had this opportunity to, be all that in the face of the tests and the adversity that's only served to make you more. To me, the adversity that I've seen you go through, and I know that to be true of my own life, has expanded me, has expanded you. It's only made your shine brighter. So I'm super proud of you. It's absolutely it's so inspiring to me, and that to watch this transformation happen, you guys, is mind blowing. And it happens relatively fast. We work together for about a year and it happens pretty fast, but week after week after week, we watch people grow. It's like watching your little child grow. And if it's so exciting to see in the early stages of development with a child, they start to crawl, they start to walk, they start to talk, they start to, feed themselves, dress themselves. It's a little bit like that because of the speed with which we transform. It is so exciting. But the transformation goes on. And the women go from this insecure, anxious, conflicted state, honestly. Yeah. This is over and over and over again. We're picking on Robyn, so to speak, today. We're illustrating through her, but she's not alone. She was me. She was probably many of you, or is many of you. I don't know. But from that anxious, conflicted, insecure, striving state to a settled in their own skin, unafraid of what other people think, willing to make mistakes and try things on. So once you fix the worth piece, that's my kind of where I want to bring it back in for a landing here, and help women see who they accurately are. They have a very solid base from which to play from. We talk all the time about being grounded in the truth and the accuracy of who God created you to be. So once you're grounded in that, you see your own value, you then realize the important role you're here to play. And it's not arrogant or self-centered. At that point, they have a resilience, as we've noticed, a joy and energy and a faith that really makes them quite unstoppable. And so that's what's so cool. So now I want you to share a little bit with us, Robyn. Tell us a little bit now in terms of your own personal worth, because we know you've moved from a 3 to an 8, and which is so exciting, what your new point of view has produced for you and your family.
Well, instead of coming from a scarcity view of myself, like what I'm not, what I don't have, what is missing, I feel like I've actually infused this in my whole family. Scott and I talk a lot about this because, he's a man in his late 50s and I'm in my early 60s. And so, it's easy to go, well, we're done, we don't, what else are we going to do? So, but we're coming from a place now that this confidence is saying, we have a different paradigm now. We have a different way of viewing our life and seeing ourselves. And I feel like for me, I've taken the scarcity. I've gotten rid of it. I've changed my narrative about what we can do with ourselves and where we're going to go. I have a new confidence just to see these are our strengths and abilities and how can we apply them to our life and how can we do something? We've turned them into a business. we've said we have abilities, and we're going to just step out and use them. And I feel like that has been so challenging but delightful, because my whole family has done this collectively. So I feel like we've shifted our paradigm on how we see ourselves as not enough. And we have to train our child to think this way too, because our kids take their cues from us, don't they? As moms, like if they see that insecurity and that, like, I'm not worth anything anymore, what are they thinking? Well, what am I worth? If you're not worth anything and you're my parent, what am I worth? So this is really important for us to fix this part of ourselves. And I think it was really important for us as a family to get this on, for me to transform so that I can infuse that in everyone else. I don't know if I answered your question. I lost my way, but anyway.
Well, I know as a result of that, Dreams Color was born. Dreams Color Media. So I just want to put a little plug out there for Dreams Color Media. I was just literally telling Robyn off camera before, I wish I lived closer in LA, but they're going to become, I asked them actually to do some work for me before, because they do any branding, video production, photo shoots, these kinds of creative projects. They are your people to go to. Dreams Color Media. Well, dreamscolor.com is their website. Go check them out for sure. But I am eagerly looking forward to using them for a lot of the projects coming up that I have. They weren't quite ready for me before, but they are now, because they are up and running. Their website's fabulous. You'll get to learn more about them there. And then, of course, we're so excited to have Robyn coming on board, being a success group coach, because she herself has been so transformed by that. So I know that what God has done inside of you, Robyn, is produced incredible new chapters, open new doors for profitability, for a powerful transformation, impact, all these opportunities. So I'm really, really grateful. I do really want to encourage everyone that's listening to stick around. We have so many fun things coming up, because yes, we have our membership group that you're welcome to check out more about. But even now, we've decided that we're going to give people an opportunity to sample this work without the commitment of the whole year. We realize sometimes if you don't know what you're getting into, you may not want to, commit that long. And it is a big commitment, but hey, it is your life. So that's why, 1 year may seem like a long time, but to go from a 3 to an 8, from a no business to a business, to working in HR, to having two new career paths, it's not that long. Honestly, it's not that long. So we do a lot of work in a year, but let's just say you're not ready for the whole year yet, and you want to see what we're all about. We have an incredible opportunity, because as I mentioned, we have several programs that facilitate women's personal, spiritual, and professional growth, and that help fulfill those new chapters. But if you want to just get started, even, today or this week or before the year ends, or you want to get yourself a little Christmas present early, or someone we have a Black Friday or a holiday special. Now, we've never done this before, you guys. I'm not a big fan of Black Fridays, but I've been prompted and asked, actually probably for about 3 years, for us to be willing to have one lesson that we would be willing to let people participate in, one piece of the training, because the training is about 30 plus modules. And every one of them is super powerful, which is why you have so much transformation happen in a year. Now, we've taken one of our favorite modules, which is tapping into your superpowers, the superiority of strengths-based living, and pulled it out from the curriculum. And we're offering it now for people to purchase, along with the optional opportunity to get one-on-one personal coaching at an extremely discounted rate. If there was even an opportunity to do this, our coaching normally runs about $225 an hour plus, depending on who works with you. And then the modules are not even there's no opportunity to buy one of them. So this strengths-based module that has been proven to help women up-level their performance by as much as 60%, plus a coaching call, will now be available to you for $167 for a limited time during the holiday season. So we're going to put the link in the Facebook group. But if you just want the module, you can get it for yourself for $67. If you want help moving forward and get some live coaching, you can add an extra $100. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Ready. I'm ready. I hear all these little things. The chat's blowing up. It's going to be fun. But I've been asked for, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of how long it's been that people have been asking me would you just sell one of your trainings separately so I could try it? Because I don't know if I'm ready to commit for a year. And I've said, I don't know, I could do that. And I haven't gotten to it, but now I have. I've been prompted. Thankfully, we have other people on our team prompting us as well. So we're excited to offer this limited time holiday season Black Friday special. We're going to extend it a little past Black Friday, but it's one of our most popular lessons. And so that you can experience a little bit of what Robyn's talking about. I bet you, even with this one lesson, your confidence will go from whatever, maybe a 3, 4, to maybe a 5, 6 or something like that. But I can tell you 60% up level in performance, which is what the research shows when you live according to your strengths, makes a significant difference in your life. So by all means, you're welcome to purchase that and get it at a discounted rate. Like I said, if you were to, try and get it somewhere else, I don't know that it's possible, but we are so excited to be able to share this. So Robyn and I are Robyn will be one of those coaches that you have the opportunity to connect with. So she will help you if you so choose to purchase that lesson, that training module on strengths-based living. She'll help you put it together and show you how to apply it. And what we create in that is what we call your own personal power statement to live by, which is an I am statement, meaning you're going to have a very clear and concise statement that speaks about your gifts, so that you can live according to your gifts and not your roles and not other people's opinions of you. So anyway, we're super excited to be able to launch this new little product that we're launching to give people a sample or a taste. You'll get to hear more about it in my upcoming emails, but grab it while it's available, because we'll only be around for through Black Friday and the holiday time. And it also means that Robyn's going to be very busy helping many people get figured out what they're going to do with these.
It's the gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly. So Robyn, can you share with us any parting words that you think you have? Because I have one last closing thought on just really the power of the way we can change our mind.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of your team, Julie. And ladies, I know some of you know me, some of you don't, but haven't been around a long time and feeling the need to transform this much at this level as a 62-year-old woman and a 40-year-old Christian, 41-year-old. I feel like if the impact of this program made this much difference on me, I know it would help you. And I'm really eager to get my hands around helping anyone that I can using these tools. I love my single sisterhood. Everyone knows I have a special place for them. I feel like if you could grab the right perspective of yourself, work through all of your insecurities and your fears, you're going to be able to step out in your life to be a woman that really does attract men, and godly men. And as a married woman, I feel like we need to be able to step into our roles of being godly, confident women in our marriages and as mothers. So it doesn't matter where you are, for a young professional woman. I feel like what is amazing is the diversity in the program of all the people that I've interacted with, different ages. I love it. And I learned so much from everyone. So I just want to encourage you, wherever you're at, whatever stage of life you're at, this is something that will most certainly meet your needs. I have no doubt about that.
That's awesome. All right. I have one closing thought for all of you listeners. Thank you, first of all, Robyn, for being such an incredible participant, willing participant with me here today on this experiment. I feel really great about it. That was fun. And for those of you listening, I'd like to propose a question and leave you with a thought here. What if you could actually see yourself accurately in the way that God sees you? What difference would that make in your life? And what if you could actually walk through life without feeling the prison of insecurity, that you walked in power and confidence and knew really, truly your own worth? How would life change for you? That's my parting thought for you. That's what we tackle here and go after. And that's what we're seeing change women's lives left, right, and center. So thank you for joining us today on this Vision Talk. I hope it was helpful for you. Robyn and I will be around in the Facebook group. By all means, connect with us there for questions. And don't forget to get your success module, your one simple success module called Tapping into Your Own Superpowers, the superiority of strengths-based living. Give yourself the gift to up-level your own performance as much as 60% and watch how your world opens up. Marriage, parenting, relationships, faith, finances, you name it. We love you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, many, many happy holidays, and we will see you soon.
Bye.